Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time zone it is, wherever you in the world. It is your Lore Saviour with a dodgy shoulder, so if I wince a bit, you know why. That is, of course, unless we listen to something cringe, because we are going to be looking at some old videos of mine and reacting to them, because that's something that a YouTuber has never done before. I actually wanted to do this last year, which was 2024, in the year of Lord Telos, but depression and a whole lack of meaning to exist took over me, so I didn't actually get round to doing that, but I thought we would do that right now for no particular reason other than the fact that I wanted to do it last year. And I took to YouTube specifically, where I asked you chucklefucks what are some of your favourite episodes on videos on the Lore by Night YouTube channel, because we started off by doing a load of podcast related stuff, lore dives and all the rest of it. It's what I am known for, hence the name Lore by Night. And since then we've sort of branched out into more general things touching in and around the world of darkness since then, which I'm very happy with, and I actually feel a lot less stressed because of how loosey-goosey some things are and I'm not having to stick to a script all the time. However, I do appreciate that a lot of you are here for that sort of stuff, and I'm very grateful for all the support that you've given me, because as of the recording of this, the 4th of June 2025 in the year of our Lord Telos, we are sitting at around about 15,000 subscribers, which I think is a really cool fucking thing indeed, especially when I didn't think I was going to get to fucking 500, and yet 15,000 is just... I'm just a bit blown away by that, to be honest, so thank you ever so much for all the support. So, going through the plentiful of comments that are left on that YouTube community post, a fair amount of you were very keen on the Vampire the Masquerade lore. I mean, because of course you were, I mean, that's the thing that you all came here for originally. And it's the stuff that's made me who I am, and it's without those lore dives, I would not be the person I am today. And I say this quite a bit, but I would probably still be a virgin without Vampire the Masquerade, so take that however you wish. Thank you so much, my gorgeous partner. But nobody suggested any specific episodes, it's just the lore dives in general, which is both great because it means that you enjoyed them all consistently, but in the terms of reacting to them, which to be fair, I never said that's what I was going to do. I was hoping for a few more examples. We've got two, one of which is an episode I was going to go through anyway, and that is my lore dive on Clan Nosferatu. And there's a very specific reason why I was going to focus on this. The person who suggested it, your comment's going to appear on the screen now, because I don't actually remember at the moment. So let's just put on the cans and see what we can do with this episode, and just see how different it sounds good. I haven't actually listened to this in fucking donkey's years. What was that, 5 years ago? Yeah, I've got no idea what this is going to sound like. It's going to sound very different to how I would do stuff in later lore dives, but anyway, let's crack on. Of course, you can't have a classic Lore by Night lore episode without the amazing, originally composed Lore by Night theme.
You're tuning in to Lore by Night, the podcast that discusses all things vampiric with no fear of breaching.
Okay, I'm just going to stop it right there, because I don't know how I delivered those lines back then, because I know that it's changed a lot throughout the years. A lot of it was very quiet and reserved like this, and then the later stuff, it was just, if you're new in town or just new to this whole podcast thing, like, I gained more confidence, basically. And with episode 10 of Clan Nosferatu, I was still trying to work out like the actual logistics of how I was recording it, because the very first one that I did, it was a very different recording environment, and then just trying to adjust the things around in my bedroom so I can get the best acoustics and recording space. And do I have a Holly? We have a Holly who's going to join us as well. Hooray! Ooh, up you get, Holly. She's going to be listening to Fiends too, apparently. So yeah, it just makes me laugh just how... Have some dog ASMR for you. Third time's the charm. So it was just interesting, like, listening back to that, just how different that all sounds, basically. But anyway, let's crack on.
Masquerade. In this episode, we continue to unravel the mysteries behind the origins, motives and cultures of the 13 vampiric clans in this world of darkness. This episode will focus on the clan of the hidden, Clan Nosferatu.
I'm cringing a little bit inside purely because I know the times of things in my Logic project, because I do all of these in Logic. how I divvy up the bits of audio where the music fades in and out, and just hearing like the gaps just seem a bit too long for me. Yeah, just how things change. How things change indeed. And just how quiet that is. Like, I'm trying not to disturb my family, and I think it just got to a point where I went, fuck it, I'm just going to do it loud and proud. And I can hear that when I'm talking in the podcast thing, how, like, where I'm sat. For example, the general, like, recording advice that you get is that the mic should be a distance between your finger and your thumb, but we've got this big old round thing here called a pop shield, which stops like plosives and S sounds coming through, so the mic doesn't go all the way through. Or I mean, with me, it's a bit further back than that because I tend to enunciate quite loudly, and that's I'm sitting quite far back but quiet. So if you're new in town or just new to this whole podcast thing, it's just my audio production brain is just kicking off again. Ugh. Anyway, I'm going to skip forward a little bit just so we can actually hear our glorious Malcolm Ashburn, Count Orlok himself, delivering the lore to the now deceased neonate. F's in the chat, folks.
Generation thereafter, wanting to build armies of the best Cainite candidates they could find. Ziliar was certain that Absimiliard would not fall under such politics and enticed him with the offer. On the surface, becoming a vampire seemed like a fantastic...
I'm trying to work out what I want Malcolm to sound like a little bit. It's very refined, and again, with the whole speaking thing I mentioned a while ago, I'm not really all that confident the delivery of our dear Nosferatu just yet. But there are moments where I spit and get a bit more vicious than a nasty neonate, but I haven't quite gained the confidence of that yet. And fun fact with the music, as I've mentioned before, all the music that's composed with the podcast stuff is original by your Lore Saviour right here, because I wanted capture the gothic nature of the world of darkness that wasn't just like industrial goth metal, which is fine and it serves its purpose, so I think there's a lot more emotions that you can serve here. And this piece of music here is the reprise of Cigarette Smoke, and I wrote this partly to be Malcolm's theme.
A story I believe is nothing more than uninspired hogwash, one I find most repulsive. This tale presents Absimiliard as a man so beautiful that no woman could resist him. The woman that he allegedly set for is Arakel, the first Toreador. Partaking in an epic love to put every love story to shame.
That's so much fun doing that. It's coming back to me now. Like, moments like that are improvised. Like, I wrote, obviously the language that I'm using is there, but I just had the idea of, what happens if you have a Nosferatu that treats the Toreador the same way the Toreador stereotypically treat the Nosferatu? Because Malcolm, as you know, is all very fine and dapper in his suit and his large cowboy hat, which is illustrated beautifully by various artists throughout the years on the channel, logo thing. And social media, of course. But I just sort of let into that quite a bit and just bit by piece just working out what I wanted him to sound like.
These simpler times were not to last, as the more refined and sophisticated kind from Europe started to claim Africa as their own. Fucking white people. Those who weren't killed or chased
That particular line is the reason why I wanted to show this episode. The fucking white people line was again an improvised line. Like, you can have the script up here now, the bit that you've just listened to. Like, that was just thrown in there because I remember reading that. It was Lore of the Clans, which was one of the first books I reviewed on the channel. Now, I had that vibe, like, the fucking Europeans just going out of their way and just ruining shit for everyone. It was an interesting bit of lore, albeit a very problematic one, but of course it kind of made sense of in the setting as well. And I remember so many people not liking that for obvious reasons, and also some people didn't like that the same reason why they didn't like the gagging at the Toreador bit. But I'm playing that somebody who's quite low down on the road of Cain, as it is anyway, so the path of Cain rather. But at the end of the day, does it really fucking matter? It's my character, do what the fuck I want. But it was the beginning of Lore by Woke! To be fair, I've always been a woke individual, and it's just, people complain about that, and then they miss this fucking episode 10 of the podcast, which I did 5 years ago. When did this premiere? The 30th of January 2020. Wow. Like, we hadn't even, like, properly kicked off then. It was like, the COVID pandemic hadn't happened then. That's just fucking crazy. I'm also very glad to share that a fair amount of you actually liked the Wraith the Oblivion lore that we covered on the channel as well, because I really had a lot of fun playing Dr. Frederick Phoenix, co-founder of the Phoenix Institute. And I know that he's going to sound very different in some of those earlier episodes as well. In fact, if I just find one of the many playlists that we have for things here, because I like to be super organised with it, I'm curious to see how many of you actually go through these playlists and just check out the various different bits and pieces that I've done. I'm actually curious to see, like, how Frederick has changed. So if we're on the Wraith the Oblivion lore podcast, for some reason some of these playlists became podcasts. That was something that YouTube did. I never particularly liked it all that much, but at least people will find it if they type in Wraith the Oblivion lore on YouTube, which is all I'm looking forward to. So what episode should we have a look at? I know. Let's listen to The Risen. I really enjoyed doing this episode with the sound effects. So let's check it out.
Vampiric, with no fear of breaching the Masquerade. In this episode, we shall discuss The Risen.
You see, at this point, I now have a bit more confidence doing the whole introduction.
And what sort of cultures these walking dead live.
I like to think that I lean in sort of a Big Brother sort of style. Unintentionally, mind you, but by this point, 3 years ago, as of the recording of this, there's a bit more confidence now. But then the episode starts.
I am sorry, I cannot let you come through here. This area is off limits.
Pitch shifted down a little bit.
Officer, do let him come through. He is with us. Please, I do insist. Well, he doesn't look like one of your... You know what? Forget it. Come on through, but don't touch anything. Thank you, officer. Far too kind. It's good to see you, Explorer. Pay no mind to him. I'm terribly sorry about this inconvenience. As you can see, there's been a bit of an incident. Well, there's been a murder.
He's a bit more...
How exciting! Oh, you shouldn't say that.
Frederick has pulled quite a bit back here. There's still some semblance here. I'm sounding a little bit more like this, a bit more of an excited sort of thing. It's kind of like that sort of tone, rather like this than what he would become in the later episodes of the Wraith the Oblivion lore stuff. I just love the fact that he just becomes far more of a caricature of himself as it's gone on, which is strange because in my mind and from how I remembered him, he was always the way I just delivered him to you.
Too loudly, but just look at the poor bastard. Flipping pancaked, the poor sod. That's not a technical term by any means, but there are very few ways to describe what has happened here, and I'm a forensic specialist. We at the Phoenix Institute know exactly what this is, and we can't let the officials get any whiff of our finding.
I have to say, there are portions of this where I listen to and think, why does he sound Indian?
Come now, Explorer. We should probably leave here. The rest of the team will find and sort this out. Right, we should be far away to have our conversation on our findings, Explorer, whilst close enough should I need to go back with ease. Explorer, we believe this flattened individual was crushed by a Christian Smith, Caucasian male, AB blood type. We do our research, so drop the concerned looks.
Of course, if you've been following through the Lore by Night verse, Christian is a ghoul that was introduced in the ghoul episode where Malcolm has a little bit of a sip of a cup, which was me actually taking a drink out of a cup of water. And I mentioned that just to make people aware that it's the same person who died as a Wraith, came back as a Risen, and that might be familiar to some of you if you played in a one-shot where the Phoenix Institute occurred and you actually encounter Christian as a Risen. And I actually put this into an adventure into the Hopeful Damned Homebrew, which you could check out for free, and potentially you too can encounter all these awesome characters. But I did that just as a little, as a thanks, a little nod to my fans and supporters and all the rest of it. But little stupid shit like that I really enjoyed doing. Just because I could fiddle around with sound effects and like drop the pitch down a little bit, just have fun with it. Like, it's as serious as I treat this, I do like to take the piss sometimes, which just reminds me, and I cannot believe that I forgot about this, but episode 200 of the Lore by Night podcast was the lore dive on the Phoenix Institute, and of course they're fictional and they're fake, but there's one moment in that I absolutely adore, and you can probably guess which one it is given for what I've just said.
to say congratulations, welcome to your new family.
Again, original
The Phoenix
music.
Institute is the largest private ghost
Very
hunting
cheesy British
organisation
pomp and
situated in the
circumstance sort of
United
thing.
Kingdom. We are hired by private parties to investigate
The logo
areas
designed
where
by my
potential
partner as
hauntings
well.
of
I
the
absolutely
restless
love that.
dead may occur.
A little nod
We
to the
use
Second
latest
Inquisition in
technology
there,
to locate
which is
paranormal
hinted in the last
activity
Lore
and
Dive
top-tier
with the Phoenix
military
Institute.
equipment. Here is our co-founder, Dr. Frederick Phoenix, explaining our methods in action.
Here we have, at an undisclosed location in Texas in the United States, liberating this small village. For weeks, we have located the lemurs to this location, determining their patterns and the people they elect to drain of Paphos. We secured their fetters and forced them to enter this building where we are able to neutralize the Wraiths. Our weaponry does little in terms of damage to the Wraiths. If anything, it makes it bloody easier for them to escape as they become totally incorporeal. But, this is an extremely important detail, their fetters are destroyed amidst our rounds of gunfire and our tactical missile strikes, which, in theory, should send the ghost straight into the abyss. Our methods may be extreme, but it assures the Wraiths bleeding that we do not muck about, sir. No, sir-we. Come on, Jeffrey, put your bloody back into it.
Our funding comes from two sources.
There's about 5 different like military ambiances just all layered on top of each other just to create the soundscape that is the Phoenix Institute just blowing the shit out of this fucking home. And it's just loud enough that you could just about hear what Frederick was going on about. And it's all lore accurate too, mind you. And again, you can hear how he sort of leaned into Dr. Frederick Phoenix, co-founder of the Phoenix Institute sort of mentality. I had properly established the tone for our good Dr. Frederick there. That was just so much fun to do. Just the audio design for that. And when each episode comes out, I listen to them back at like some speakers that are here. And I forgot to warn my family who just passed it about doing all that much that it was going to happen. So when you have this fucking war go off, it scared the shit out of them. What a bunch of cunts. Yeah, I generally miss doing the voice of Frederick, honestly, because he was sort of created to be the inverse of Malcolm. Malcolm, like, could barely tolerate the neonate. Frederick practically loved him as a son. Malcolm was kind of quiet and reserved, and Frederick was, like, really full on in your fucking face. Like, it was just loads of fun to do, even with some of the more, like, serious elements of Wraith that were more difficult to do. I had so much fun doing the Wraith lore guides, and just because of being Dr. Frederick Phoenix. And there's one more stupid one that I want to show you with Wraith. I want to say it's with the Chanteurs Guild, where I have like a shameless plug within the episode and breaking the fourth wall. Now I've got the fucking theme tune going round in my head. You see, that's just the power of being a great composer. You just have your own tunes as your own earworms. Now, if you listen carefully...
This has been a very interesting session, and things aren't looking very well for Doris now, aren't they? Taking huge unexpected turns. The tragic nature of Vampire the Masquerade, the betrayal and the potential loss of humanity.
Oh, good heavens! Oh, you can't sneak up on me like that, dear explorer. I may be a well-hearted individual who has seen many a ghost in his time, but...
And the little click was literally just me slapping the keyboard in time with that. I was recording and I hit like the enter button as I was recording it, which was picked up by the microphone. And it just sounded distant enough that it's like stopping the button on a tape recorder sort of thing. But what is it that he was listening to? Let's listen and find out.
You needn't try and test that. Good grief! You gave me quite the fright. I was lost in this podcast, playing with thyself, and it is quite entertaining. This host also runs a Lore by Night Productions podcast too, which some relatives pointed out might be something you may want to listen to at some point. If anything, the music for both of these are quite stellar. Music is quite the powerful tool, isn't it?
And then we lead into talking about the Chanteurs Guild who do music. I have no shame with that. I need more people to listen to my actual plays than my solo play stuff. So go check out Playing With Thyself and the Lore. Do it now! Oh boy. Okay, let's just rein that back in a little bit and talk a little bit about what we can learn from Wraith Oblivion from The Crow, which was something else that someone had mentioned. Your name's going to appear on screen now. I was going to talk about this one anyway. I'm not going to be playing that one, partly because it's fairly recent and you can go and easily find that on the channel. Also, that video got me copyright claimed because of the music that I used. The whole fucking film, fine. Just a couple instances of the music. So I'm not going to show that one again so I could like copy claim myself twice with the same fucking audio. But I'm not going to lie, that was like one of the more impactful videos that I've done because how much I love The Crow. And also the timing in which I actually got around to watching it. It was shortly after the death of my grandma, who I love exceptionally. And it was just like a real fucking match made in heaven sort of thing. It was fun putting that video together. It was fun writing it. And, you know, that video took forever to edit together. Oh, but I can actually show you this because... So some of you may know I use Canva and ProVegas to edit my videos. ProVegas is the predominantly used one now because for the much larger things with the webcam and the whole thing. But I also use Canva sometimes when I'm doing stuff on my phone, walking about. But I also use it to design my thumbnails and other homebrew that I've done. But I also used Canva a lot here when I was doing the Crow video because I didn't just want to play the video clips all the way through. Because I was really dicing with the whole copyright thing. I didn't know how it would react with the film. Because learning my mistakes when I did the episode on the Midnight Mass, like, cult thing, which is going to appear on the card somewhere now. Yeah, that was copyrighted all over the place. Because Netflix did not want me having any fucking clips in that. And this being a much larger film, I didn't want that to repeat itself. But as I already mentioned, turned out the only thing that was issue with was the music. So, lesson learned, I guess. Which might make a review of The Crow on the channel quite easy to do in the future. It might not, but if you want that, let me know in the comments below. But going back to Canva, like the little slideshow, like, art things, for lack of a better phrase, I used Canva for. So if I just show you a short one, like this bit here, like just the end of the first part of the video, it's just loading in now. Like, Canva's not really designed for making videos. It's very much an elaborate PowerPoint sort of thing, but you've got a bit of audio down here, which is like the dry audio of me recording. Well, let's just fucking listen to it and you can see it all work into place. It would influence Wraith the Oblivion, particularly the Risen Source book I told you earlier. Whilst it would be fairly straightforward to talk about those similarities, I think it's more important to take a step back and remember that Risen... Of course, there's no music here because I hadn't decided what I was going to be doing with the music at this point. So there are lots we can learn from The Crow to help us. I think the music for this is the music that I would compose for the Wraith the Oblivion lore sections, Beyond the Veil. Beyond the Veil, which is that very mournful string viola bit. But as you can see, it's all very simple animation stuff. Like, there's not really much more to talk about with that, really. Just that's how it worked all the way through. And then the other bits where you've got like the different art styles, like going up and cascading up and down against each other. It's just bits like that. There were lots of instances of that, basically. Which sort of made the editing process a bit slower, even though the video itself is not all that long. But I'm very proud of that, just because how smooth and lush it is. As my partner would tell you, I'm obsessed of making things 60 frames per second if I can help it, just because it just looks nice and it just flows really fucking nicely, you know? And if I can do, I absolutely will. But here's a really fun thing with Canva. Canva does allow you to export things that are 60 frames per second, but only if you've got something in there that is 60 frames per second. So I had to download like a video that somebody made that is just a white square. If I just smack the transparency of that up, that runs at 60 frames per second, so I could import that into the video and then it will export it 60 frames per second, which is really fucking annoying. I don't know why Canva does that, but there's a lot of really weird things that Canva does that I don't particularly like, the biggest of which being AI, but that's a conversation of a different time. So let's just go back to vampire lore, as somebody said that they really liked the episode on Cain and Lilith, or rather it was the episode on the Path and Road of Cain and the Bahari. I'm presuming it was those two as you put them both together and they were like right next to each other. I don't really have much remembrance of either of these episodes. I remember writing the one about Cain and the Book of Nod, purely because there was a very interesting scenario in my house that happened at that time. So when I have written my scripts in the past, I have sat at this desk here in the dining room, which isn't really a dining room because nobody eats here anymore, writing them on a Google Docs on this very computer, and then I export them and back them up at different file formats. I just have like copies available when needed, and then I record them upstairs in my room on physical paper copies because that's just easier for me to work with. But yet the Dark Father and Nodism episode, which I believe is the one that they're referring to here rather than the more recent Cainite Heresy one, I was up in my room, which is sort of like up there somewhere, but it's above our kitchen, and I was typing away at a laptop, this very laptop that I'm recording this on, and we had some work being done in our kitchen at this time, and for lack of a better description, piping work under the sink kind of blew up, and water just went psh, and just hit the ceiling. Well, yeah, the ceiling of the kitchen, and I could feel this constant vibrating rush beneath me. And I came down the calmest motherfucker in the whole street. The guy who was doing our kitchen was sort of in a panic and a fluster, didn't know what to do. My mother was thinking that we'd have to evacuate the house because water was just going up everywhere. And at this moment, I remember that I was wearing a beanie and my hair was quite a bit shorter. I just took off my beanie and just slapped it on the banister. There was this bucket that was floating in the kitchen, picked it up, flipped upside down, and just sat on this bucket basically, which stopped the water coming up so much. And I said to the Palmer's name, look, you've got to know somebody that will fix it, so get on the phone to them. Mother, get some towels and whatever. And I remember with all this now happening, it's like, why the fuck am I so organised and calm about this? But anyway, enough about family crises and house fuck-ups. Let's check out a bit of the Dark Father and Nodism.
You and your children will cling to darkness. You will drink only blood. You will eat only ashes. You will always be as you were at death, never dying, living on. You will walk forever in darkness. All you touch will crumble into nothing, until the last days. I hope I do not need to explain this any further. Finally, the gentle Lord of Mercy, Archangel...
See, this is how I hear Malcolm more. This is the more recognisable Orlok format, and this was done 4 years ago, so 2021? Yeah, the 25th of February 2021. This is how I kind of envision Malcolm these days, and just because of the comment I've just seen there from 4 years ago, remember, wherever we go, it is the blood of Cain which makes our fate. Farewell, vampire. Brilliant writing from Bloodlines. Bit of venom in every word, just really disdainful and bitter towards the neonate. Don't really have much more to say with that, really. It's the audio mixing is a lot better, because I know in some of those earlier episodes it was kind of all over the place. So, with that out of the way, let's check out Lilith, because I have nothing to say about that at the moment, and just see if that like sparks any sort of memories.
It should be noted that Eve was created as a lesser creature by deliberate choice, a subservient thing, whose sole purpose was to submit to the wills and lusts of Adam, forever compliant and silent. When Eve was instructed to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge by Lilith, she wept, for her mind's eye was now open to the horrors inflicted upon her. The two women of God remained in place, Lilith comforting Eve until Adam arrived, alarmed by the sound of his crying wife, who offered the fruit to Adam to learn why she cried. Filled with remorse and shame,
I can remember now, again, this was another one that I wrote upstairs out of the way because there was kitchen stuff going on. I might have actually written them back to back. I think I did, because I usually write them one episode per week, so I don't, funny enough, get too stressed out by the workload. And I remember that reading the Dark Revelations, which is the book in which you could find out about Lilith and the Bahari within the world of darkness. It was a very educational one, and it made me like go out of my way to look about who and what Lilith exactly was. It was a very educational one, and I think that religious education and education in general was just done as a disservice. But that's a conversation going on from a different time. And as I had a look at the comments with the last one, let's have a look through some of the comments here and see if I can remember anything, if there are any petty weird ones. That was a very clever way of introducing the content warning. Oh, yes, I'd forgotten about that. Like, just the nature of the Bahari, just how twisted and full-on and everything else that they are. I mean, if you've experienced the Bahari, you know what I'm talking about. There's some really dark, twisted themes here, and I wanted to introduce them somehow, but that's just what I ended up doing with it. Actually, can I try and find that and play that for you?
much deeper. What I'm about to discuss for you is disturbing, far more so than most of our previous topics. The destruction of what we treasure and love, humiliation, misogyny, sadism, masochism, and rape run rampant in the veins of all Bahari, including the Dark Mother herself. Our version of events do not shine a terribly positive light on Christianity, but then again, they are very good at doing that themselves in practically everything in their Bibles, including the neglecting of Lilith. But I digress. My point, child, is that, as per usual...
Sorry, just to interrupt that a little bit. So that's kind of what I did, just warning the neonate that things are going to get a bit dark. But yeah, the "but I digress" line. Like, even some of the earlier stuff before I really exaggerated, "but I digress," that kind of became a little meme within the space. I like it that people have made Lore by Night memes. I've seen a lot of them that it's just like a meme about the main theme, which sort of makes me giggle. Like, it's nice. It's nice to be appreciated that way. If you've got more Lore by Night memes, I'd love to check them out. I do love a good dank meme.
I will make no efforts to sugarcoat anything for you, for this needs to be addressed. That being said, I will respect your need to approach these things another night. Now, as it...
That big fat pause was allowing people to leave the episode. I remember doing that. If people did not like it, rather than just launching straight into it, they could fuck off and not listen to it anymore. That was a very deliberate decision, because I don't usually have big pregnant pauses like that. But you could also say, well, it's a moment for the neonate to speak up, to confirm or deny the conversation to take place. But yeah, I remember that I did that as an opportunity to let people fuck off, because I didn't know how to do like the YouTube chapter things, like you can break things up in different bits and pieces. And also I didn't really bother doing all that much, because I just sort of like upload it onto YouTube and all at the time other podcasting spaces and just left it as that. So I didn't... The sort of one regret that I have actually, that I didn't focus more on the YouTube element of things. I just sort of treated it as like another means of archive, but times change. But I'm also glad that I didn't do that, really, because I wouldn't be the person who I am today if I didn't learn those things in my own time. So yeah, I'm glad actually that I had a look at that comment, because I just remembered so much about it. Like, there's so many different episodes and videos and things, there's so little nuggets that I have forgotten about, and if I had the time, I'd go through each and every one of them. But alas, I have more important things to be doing. So, to the person who said their favourite episode was that of Cain and Lilith, thank you ever so much. Now, I wasn't going to have a look at this one because it was only one person that did it, but now that two people have listed it, I'm actually going to check it out. A couple of people really liked the Paths of Enlightenment episodes that I did, and I have to say I really enjoyed doing those. Though that being said, I don't actually remember writing them. Like, it's quite common for me to write an episode, record it, and then put it out, and then until it comes out, not think about it and completely forget about it. It's quite often that I actually forget what I wrote about when I'm recording them, and then I just forget about it when the video comes out, and then it's out into the wilderness to do its own thing. Now, said parties did not say which of the roads and paths have been their favourites. Now, originally I was going to cover the other ones, and who knows, I may come back to them in a more casual setting, I don't really know. But I'm going to hazard a guess that when they speak of the roads and paths of enlightenment, we're talking about the OG5 and like the overview. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 6 and the 5. So actually, I'm going to grab a D6 and roll on it, and the number that we get is the one that we're going to have a little listen to. What was my personal favourite one, I hear some of you ask? I have fondness of writing about the road of humanity, purely because I thought that was the most useful one. Just because most vampire games, you're going to be playing vampires that are stuck to their humanity, and they're different spin-offs from the Road of Humanity in the Dark Ages setting that are interesting. So let's roll. 6. So that leads us to the Road of Heaven.
Forcing it into submission, physically and spiritually, whilst those who believe in the Cainite hearsay that Jesus Christ is Cain were known to partake in blood orgies. No, you may not find one, you filthy animal. Anyway. These rituals vary from
Oh, I love little moments like that. You filthy animal. See, I don't remember writing that. I don't even know if that was ad-libbed or not. I wouldn't be surprised if that was something I included in the script. Actually, I can have a look at that, can't I? Let's see. There you go. Right there, that was something I included in the script. No, you may not find one, you filthy animal. Brilliant. So the last recommendation that I'm going to look at is one that I found a little surprising because I'd actually expected more people to mention this, and it was the first of the re-embrace videos where we take a vampire in fiction and we make them into a vampire NPC. And I know people would make videos like, oh, how to make such and such a character in D&D, but I put a spin on that, taking, you know, which was meant to help storytellers like create NPCs and how to work out what makes most sense. Now, they did often take a bit of a jokey turn because I had just fun doing it, but the first one I did was Lady Dimitrescu, or whatever her name was, which was the first one that I did, as I mentioned, and you could tell the Resident Evil 8 had just come out at this point. So yeah, let's check out the spicy video.
She seems a resolute character to me. Now, as for the stats and questions, I have put 4 dots in strength, 2 dots in dexterity, 5 dots in stamina, 4 dots in charisma.
This being an older video, there's still a level of posh twat in how I'm speaking it. Well, I'm not quite speaking as myself, which admittedly I do sound like a posh twat, but also kind of speaking like Malcolm, like trying to keep like Lore by Night to the person and then all the different fucking vampire personas as like separate entities, like just sort of bridging the gap between the two of them and how I'm delivering things. It's just interesting to know that even though this isn't like an in-universe discussion thing, like how I am approaching this conversation, it's fascinating to see. And because I see him poking up there, we have to check out the Count Von Count one, which I did because fuck it, why not? This one was a fucking stupid one to do. I made him like a fucking Ravnos Methuselah or something like that. This one was fun to do. Let's check it out.
We know that Count Von Count is one of 2 ages, both of which presents 2 immediate problems when creating a V5 character sheet for him.
Yeah.
The Count is either 1,832,652 years old or 6,523,728 years old as of 2017.
That was so fucking difficult to do. I've forgotten how old, like, the Sesame Street lore has made the Count, just because it's such a fat number, and I kept twisting my tongue around and getting that right.
Which kind of makes him far too powerful for any sort of scenario, but I do have a solution to this, which I will address momentarily. Whilst it has rarely been...
Oh, that was it. I didn't make him a Ravenous, I made him a Malkavian, but it was just a bit...
stated that the Count is a vampire because Sesame Street wouldn't want their audience, literal toddlers, to become violent, horny bastards. It has been suggested he is a cousin of Count Dracula, which is interesting, for Dracula is a canonical vampire in Vampire the Masquerade, which makes the placement of Count Von's Count clan an interesting one. Like Dracula of VTM, Count Von Count is friendly towards people, which is understandable, given he is a character on a fucking children's show. In any case, it probably would affect how he would go about feeding. Now, NPCs in Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition don't...
Oh yeah, that was a fun, silly one to do. How many views did that get? 2.4 thousand views, cool. And I even put a fucking game to that Sesame Street counting cafe. Oh, Lord by Night, you're such a fucking joker! So with the community favourite videos out of the way, I actually want to share some of my favourite videos, ones that we haven't talked about already. Some of the ones that are a bit more special in my heart. And in actual fact, one of my favourite episodes that I did was an April Fool's episode on how to roleplay all the clans and bloodlines. You know, it was the video where basically I gave a jokey bit of advice for the clan and then end it with however you fucking want to, because I'd see so many people insisting on playing the clans on such a way when really at the end of the day you could play them however you fucking want to. And this one has my mother in it. And some people don't believe that. Some people think that's just me taking the piss. It's like, no, I actually got my mother involved with this. So let's just check out the bit at the end, because I think that's the best example of my mother's voice acting chops. So the joke to this is that Mama Lore by Night is being pissed off by both myself and Colin, the gargoyle, being really loud and noisy, and it sort of reaches a climax of being far too noisy, because we've been warned time and time again that we're being too noisy and disturbing thine slumber.
To VTM clan and bloodlines, everyone else should just stop while they're ahead and bow down to the king! But alas, they shan't. The bloody fools. Fools, I tell you! Fools!
You fucking horrible little shit! For fuck's sake, shut your fucking gob! You entitled little wanker! You just weaseling excuse of a vampire!
So the only instructions that I gave her is that throughout the course of the video, she's going to get more and more pissed off. And by the end, which is this bit here, like, she has completely lost her shit. Like, she just come in and seen the most horrible thing that I could do. I was in my room and I got her in the hallway upstairs to do that. Just have a bit of distance away from the microphone because I knew she was really going to belt it out. So it's a bit of audio production stuff so she could just announce it clearly and just do her thing without it distorting. Oh, and my mother loves using fucking jizz weasel. That's like one of her favourite expressions. Of course she had to throw that in there.
Oh, make me come in there. All I ask, and I ask very, very, very little, is some deference, some respect, and today I ask for some fucking quiet.
Well, to be totally honest, Bedanta, you asked Colin for signs, you are nothing to me.
I'm going to turn my back now, and I'm going to walk away.
She didn't know that I was going to be adding these little bits in there, like the interactions. Like, she did her bit, and then I edited my bits in there. Again, totally improv. I didn't put that in the script, and then I played it back to her. As she had a bit of a giggle over it. We had a bit of a giggle of it together. It was a fun fucking episode to do.
And I'm going to count to 5, and then I'm coming in with those wooden stakes.
Oh, the stakes!
And you know exactly what that means because we've done this way before. Do I make myself clear?
To be kept updated, follow the Lore by Night VT.
I remember with this ending, there's one person who thinks this was how all the episodes were going to end now. It was clearly a joke, mate.
Subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking on the little bell.
And no, this isn't generative AI, this is Apple Mac's text-to-speak, so calm down.
Until next time, farewell.
So yeah, a few years on, thanks, Mum. You fucking cunt. Some other videos that I really enjoyed was all the solo Wraith Oblivion stuff, which is fairly recent. It's of this year. I was very passionate about doing all of this and the video and the music that went with all of this as well. I'm not going to play any of it because, as you can see, they did fucking awfully. And it's clear that you didn't really care all that for it, but you know what? I don't fucking care. I had fun doing that. I know that people do enjoy Wraith the Oblivion, and it's accompanying a homebrew that I created, The Hopeful Down, which I mentioned earlier on, the second plug of the episode. It was just a lot of fun to do. Similarly, my trailer for the Worthy Apocalypse lore, When Will You Lore, that was a lot of fun to do. That was done entirely in camera with stock footage, a bit of video game footage, and the music was done to that as well. Actually, the music came first, and then everything else was done all around it, which is a very odd way of doing things, but then again, very few people was based as I putting music to video that way around. But I just wanted to mention that because I would later regret it if I didn't. What really does surprise me, actually, that nobody has mentioned the Delectable Guides to Supernatural Dating, i.e. the stuff with Daddy Diva, despite being a really popular character within the Lore by Nightverse. I'm actually quite surprised that no one mentioned this. Like, the first episode, the Delectable Diva's Guide to Vampiric Dating, which, as you can see, it was a special for 6,969 YouTube subscribers, which is 6969 because I'm a 15-year-old child inside, and I wanted to do something funny to it, and I remember asking out on Twitter at the time, what should I do to celebrate it? And somebody made the suggestion for like a vampire dating episode. Now, they probably meant it as like a really mature subject, like Bloodstained Love was trying to be, but ended up just being a bit cringe. But nah, because I'm a fucking child, I decided I was going to go with just fucking meme and just make it sex all the way through. I really get to tap into a side of myself I don't really get to put out all that much, partly because I am not a fan of PDA and people don't need to hear and see that all the time, and that sort of like behaviour is like, should be within like appropriate audiences, shall we say, and just a bit tongue-in-cheek with the second part, The Second Coming. And I had one planned for werewolf as well, the Delectable Diva's Guide to Werewolf Dating, the threesome, and then just work our way up from there. Anyway, I do think the best one is the original one, so let's check that out. A bit tongue-in-cheek, saucy music, of course. Had my partner in mind when I wrote this, because of course. And I don't think people were expecting any of this because of how different it is. Like how I described a moment ago, it's like very sexual and sensual, very different to the very sophisticated Malcolm. Just like the inverted position, if we treat it as a tarot card for a moment. Like, it was just so naughty, so risque.
Welcome to the Delectable Diva's Guide to Vampiric Dating, and I'm here to tell you that you have been a very, very naughty Cainite. Oh, don't give me that look, Chilled. Time and time again you go breaking hearts and leaving so many disappointed, and not just because you forget to use Blush of Life, if you get what I mean. Darling, I know all about that and much, much more. You're talk of the town. I'm honestly embarrassed for you, especially with old Malcolm as your adoptive sire. Oh yes, he was quite the minx once, but given Cynthia was butchered in that barley ritual, all sexual drive just... Oops. I said too much. Well...
Yeah, I'll let you listen to the rest of that in good time, but it's just remembering what the comments is like and just like interactions online in general, like, it's like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on here? And because I'm a British man with a very nice speaking voice, I had a certain effect on some of my dear listeners as my voice, my velvety tongue, dripped down your ear. How long ago was this? 3 years ago. 21st of May 2021. 22 rather. Wow. How time flies. The last video I want to talk about is my... The last video I want to talk about is my Let's Play of Bloodlines 2, where it's just patch 1.2 on Windows 10, so none of the official patch stuff on there, because I wanted to see if it could be done, because I knew it was something that speedrunners did, but obviously they wouldn't play through the whole game traditionally, and if you check out the Let's Play, it's by no means traditional. So why am I showing this one by how recent it is? Well, I'm actually going to mute that because I can't fucking hear myself. But the reason why I'm sharing this is because I've never done a Let's Play before. Like, I did Let's Plays live with Earthblood and the VTM Vision novels, but I hadn't like done like a recorded step-by-step sort of recording, just me reacting to things on the fly like this. I've done it live to an audience sort of thing. But I just wanted to do like something special to celebrate 20 years of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, and of course I had to do like a really cool Let's Play. Like, but how could I make it different? Patch 1.2. It was so much fun to record, and also it was really fun to edit for the most part, because I usually get quite anxious like editing large projects just because of how long they take, and there's just always that extra air of like something going wrong. But I know what's playing there. I just had lots of fun with it, and it just was like smooth and fun, and it was very memey, putting in sound effects and zooming things in and out, and like really basic editing shit, but it was just lots of fun to do. And I recently did one for Redemption because it's going to be 25 years this year, and funny enough, even though it was a far more buggy experience, which is quite surprising really as we're talking about Bloodlines, but that was just so much fun to edit as well, and I think I've gone an extra step to make it that one more memey, and when that one comes out, hopefully you lot will enjoy that as well. Oh boy. It's just fun to do. Like, I'm really happy by the overall project, and just, I'd love to do something more like this. I don't know whether I want to do Swan Song or some of the other World of Darkness games. I want to do Soul Reaver, because I've then mentioned before that Soul Reaver is the vampire game that got me into horror and vampires in general at a very young age. So I think it's only like a duty one has to uphold sort of thing. I don't know when I'm going to do that, but if you want to see that sort of thing, do let me know, because it might encourage me to get on a bit sooner. So let's unmute this now.
It's open. It's open. Oh god, run.
Foreshadowing. Another shit post I did in Canva.
Now, you may think this is a load of bullshit, but that's actually a rumour in one of the older vampire books about thin bloods becoming human again. You can have fun working out which one that is. Now, there are many ways of handling this quest, and I'm sure you've all done them all before. However, the unofficial patch gets rid of the easiest way of doing this. Allow me to show you.
And this isn't me fucking about. I have a lot of gripes with the unofficial patch when I realise how much it tampers with. But like, if players want to do like this really simple thing of like smashing the window, avoiding all the dialogue, they should be able to.
Interesting that these guys are doing absolutely no damage. Yeah,
But yeah, there we have it. Just a handful of videos that you lot have really enjoyed over the last 6 years, almost, and a load of videos that I've enjoyed over the last few years, and a bunch of other really cool things in between. I'm assuming that more people are going to be seeing this video than they have seen this community post. So tell me, which some of your videos have been your favourites? Of their particular lore dives? Have been some of the actual play stuff? Have they been this Let's Play? Has it been something else that I've totally forgotten about? Do let me know in the comments below. Has it been one of the many walk and talk vlog things that I've done? Because I've really enjoyed doing those. I know those don't do as well as everything else on the channel, but it's just nice just to voice an opinion sometime when I'm out and about with my two gorgeous dogs. So yeah, let me know about all things Lore by Night in the comments below. Like, just, you know, just celebrate me, your Lore and Saviour, for a little bit. But no, in all seriousness, like, I'd love to hear what you like about the channel, the sort of things you'd like to see in the future. Now, whether I do those things or not is a completely different matter, but it'll be nice to see the sort of things that you're into. And I just honestly appreciate and support the love and the dedication and how you've celebrated that throughout these last few years. It really does mean a lot. Like, deep down in the cold recesses of where my heart is supposed to be, I'm excruciatingly grateful. And I know I can be a bit miserable sometimes with certain videos not getting views or things like that, and it is very frustrating sometimes when you put in a lot of work, like with the Wraith solo stuff that I mentioned earlier on. Like, that's excluding the development of the homebrew, which is like well over a year. Like, the actual play stuff took almost 2 months to do, and then to see that it gets so little traction is very disheartening. And yes, I do stand by the fact that it did make me happy and I didn't care too much, but things that can be frustrating. I know I can be a bit miserable and upset about that, as a lot of people are, but I'm just very grateful that those who tuned in to watch those things are the true goats of the Lore by Night channel. Like, to anybody who was watched every single video that I have done since the beginning, you are the goats. You are the Lore by Night goats, and that can never be taken away from you. Unless you do something that's absolutely hideous or criminal, then obviously you get that taken away from you. But you get what I'm trying to say. I am so grateful for all the support and the love, and how you interact with each other and the community that we've established together. It's just wonderful stuff, and I have so many ideas for so many different videos in the future. Some of them more long form, some of them a bit rambly, and yeah, I'm just very happy that you're all just sticking around for the journey as we branch out and diversify and do different things. And I hope that you continue to do so, and I will see you on the next upload, whatever that may well be for you. And until next time, farewell.